What is up, guys, and welcome back to part 21, the season finale of this F1 2016 career mode here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. If you've missed the previous whole entire series, where on earth have you been? But if you have missed it, there's a little card annotation in the top right hand corner for you to go catch up on everything that's happened over the season so far. But last time out at the Brazilian Grand Prix, it was a sort of good race, bad race for us. We started down at 18th position. We managed to get 8th in the race, just nicking it from Fernando Alonso right at the end because the car is so fast in a straight line. So we just managed to nick 8th position, and it is a good result, but at the end of the day I want to get better results, especially as the Renault is now the 4th best car in the research and development. So, you know, I kind of need to be definitely more up there. Is it 4th? Actually, it might even be the 3rd best car in the research and development. So yeah, we definitely should be up there fighting for more podiums. But going into today's race, we are currently ahead of Daniel Ricciardo by 4 points in the driver's standings. So we need to maintain that position, need to maintain 6th place. We're also 5th in the constructors, and we could have a chance of getting Toro Rosso as well. 10 points off of those guys. So hopefully we can do that in today's race, but we're just going to have to wait and see as we head into the practice sessions.
The sun is out and the temperature is rising. Welcome to this afternoon's practice session here in Abu Dhabi.
Here we are then, doing the track acclimatization at this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Now, it did take quite a while to actually get a purple score in this track acclimatization, but we did manage to make it. We did manage to get as many resource points as possible heading into the new season. But then, you know, we decided not to do the tyre wear management or the qualifying until FP2. So this happened in FP1, unfortunately. We just run it a little bit too wide onto these curbs, and that was enough to put us into the barriers and lose our front right tyre. So that was us retired from FP1. So a little bit disappointing, but it's not like we missed out on any sort of resource points there. I think we pretty much just got everything that we need to do in that session. So then we headed into Q2, but in Q1, you know, we were right at the back of the field, 4 seconds off the pace of the leaders, which is really disappointing, but we didn't get to have our full running because of that incident, obviously. But then we headed into Q2, and we decided to do the tyre wear management this one because obviously the conditions are more appropriate to what they're going to be in the race. And we did manage to get a purple score. We were sort of messing about on that final lap, though. We were just pushing the car, trying to get a really quick lap, and unfortunately it was still only good enough for 14th place. But then we decided to do the qualifying run, and unfortunately we couldn't get the purple score, but we did at least manage to get the green one coming down towards the line now, and managed to beat that by 4/10 of a second. So yeah, not too bad. I mean, we didn't manage to get the purple score, but at least we managed to get some resource points as we head into the new season of, well, yeah, next season. We want to get as many resource points as possible, especially as we ceased research and development, so we get an extra 25% on what we've already earned since, I think it was America that we ceased our R&D. So, yeah, so we get 25%, which is really, really good. And we ended that session down in 13th position, so that's not too bad compared to what the previous practice sessions have been. Our race weekend always seems to go on a slope that always increases up. So, yeah, hopefully that can happen in practice. No, not in practice. Hopefully it can happen in qualifying and in the race as well. But 13th place in practice, good result, and hopefully we can carry on that momentum into qualifying.
Here we are at the beautiful Yas Marina circuit where qualifying is about to begin. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the action.
Here we are then, the final qualifying session of the season, and we will really, really want to get out of Q1 this time. We've struggled in the last 3 races just to get outside of the first qualifying session. So this time around at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, we do want to change that. We want to make sure that we get into Q2 and at least into Q3 as well. If we can at least get into Q2, that'd be fantastic. But if we can get into Q3 as well, that would be absolutely amazing for the final race of the season. And that is where the car should be. It should be up there. But for now, let's head out on track, do a couple of laps, and see where that puts us. Here we are then, the first lap in this qualifying session, going out right at the end of the session once again, round the final corner, down towards the line. Unfortunately, we were held up by Sergio Perez on this lap, and that lap time was only good enough for 18th position, but we should be able to improve if the next lap goes cleanly. Hopefully it does. And here we are on the second lap of this qualifying session. It is 2/10 faster, so we've not really improved by that much. And it was a terrible final corner down towards the line. It is an improvement, but is it enough to take us up in the standings? No, it's not. It's only good enough for 18th position, and we are really, really struggling in these qualifying sessions. Very, very disappointing result from myself. At least Jolyon Palmer got into Q2, so that's a fantastic result from him. So we can definitely be very proud of our teammate. But down in 18th place, terrible, terrible result for us. And once again, the Williams deciding to go on the middle set tyres and get knocked out in Q1. So they always seem to do that. One of their drivers always seems to go on the wrong set of tyres and get knocked out in Q1, which is pretty funny if I'm honest, you know, that they managed to make the mistake every single time. But Nico Hulkenberg, he is also out in 17th place, and then you just have the usual suspects of the two Manners and a Sauber of Felipe Nasr. We will be looking to improve on this result in the race, because last time out at the Brazilian Grand Prix we qualified in 18th position as well, I believe, or it could have been 19th, and we managed to finish the race in 8th. So hopefully we can improve on today's qualifying result and try and get a good result in the race. We're just going to have to wait and see, and without any further ado, let's head over to the final race of the season, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
It's twilight here in the United Arab Emirates, and twilight also on another Formula One season. It's been a captivating story throughout the year, but will we see one final dramatic twist before the end? The drivers will be racing here on Yas Island today through 21 corners and a lap distance of around 3.4 miles. There are plenty of opportunities to pass, with long straights and DRS zones in 2 places, at turns 8 and at turn 11. Plenty of close racing then, plenty of speed and plenty of drama to be found in the laps to come. Alongside me for one final time this season, it's Anthony Davidson. What a year it's been, Ant. It's been an absolute pleasure. And now, how are you feeling ahead of lights out tonight?
Well, it's been a breathtaking year of F1 action, and there's one more sting in the tail to come here tonight, I reckon. We've been all around the world, but there's still everything to fight for, and what an occasion it is as well. There's a real sense of anticipation every time we come here to Abu Dhabi, and here's hoping it's a fitting end to a very special season.
It's not been the best of seasons, so let's try and finish on a positive note.
It's race day here at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the final race of this F1 2016 season, and it's very, very exciting going in towards this race. We'll be looking to try and get a good result. We're starting down in 18th position, which is a little bit disappointing, but having a look at the race strategy for today's race, for the personalised one from the tyre wear management that we did, they want us to go onto the softs and then onto the super softs at the end. They think that we can do that. I mean, we could be able to do it, but our tyre wear at the end of both stints would be absolutely dreadful, that we're just going to lose so much time in the traction zone. So I think the best one to go for is maybe for this high tyre management for the softs at the start, and then 2 sets of super softs towards the end of the race. So here we are getting away for the formation lap, and all the other guys, you know, being right at the back of the grid. We're just going to have to wait for all the other guys around us to get started. And here we are, away we go, and we're just going to start warming up the tyres, warming up the brakes, weaving the car all over the place, and just make sure that we are nice and in the good temperatures, ready for the start of the race. And here we are on the starting grid, the lights coming on now. 4, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the final race of the 2016 season. It's a run down in towards turn 1. It's a fairly average start from myself. We might have a look up the inside of Marcus Ericsson, which we do. Up the inside, holding the curb on the left-hand side. Make sure that we don't make contact with the Sauber driver. The yellow flags are out. Something's happened down in towards turn 1. We'll hopefully get a replay of what has happened through there. We're going round the outside of Marcus Ericsson. Looks like we got the job done. Down in towards this next chicane. Can we get the job done on Sergio Perez at the inside? Yes, we can. And possibly our teammate as well of Jolyon Palmer side by side through the next chicane. And he gives us the position, and we are up into P12, right behind the Toro Rosso of Danny Kvyat. Remember, we need to get 11 or more points on the Toro Rossos in order to get that 4th position in the constructors standings. Hopefully it can happen for us, but you know, we're just gonna have to get a really, really good result here today. And following in the slipstream of Danny Kvyat, going down in towards this chicane. Can we get the job done here? Not quite. We're just going to settle behind the Toro Rosso driver just for the time being. Try and get a good run out of this corner, which we don't. We're a little bit late on the throttle, losing the back end quite a bit as well. But we do have a very, very nice package in this Renault, especially in straight line speeds. And we might be able to go for a move in towards the next corner. We're going nearly side by side, under braking though. Get the job done side by side with Danny Kvyat. Can we hold it around the outside? We don't even need to bother. He gives up the position. And that is us up into P11. Up next for us is Valtteri Bottas, and there's quite a train of cars ahead of us at the moment, but here we are having a look at a replay of what's happened on the race start. So just look behind my cars. Something happened to some of the other drivers going down in towards turn 1. We look nice and fine at the moment. There's a little bit of contact between a Sauber and a McLaren. There's more contact there, and then the McLaren comes back onto the track and hits his teammate. Not too sure who came out worse between the two teammates there, but someone has to take the blame there down at McLaren. That was a terrible, terrible decision decision to come back on the track like that. Here we are on board with Fernando Alonso. Was he the guy who came back onto the track dangerously? Don't think so. Looks like there is another McLaren just ahead of him. There's the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson. Gives the first McLaren one touch. Then another touch. Pushes him wide. Then the McLaren comes back onto the track into the path of Fernando Alonso. And he's lost his whole entire front wing. Is going to be driving really, really slowly back to the pits. So very, very unfortunate for the McLaren driver. They're on board with Jenson Button now. So let's have a look closely into what happened between him and Marcus Ericsson. So going down in towards turn 1, you'll be able to see the Sauber driver in a moment. There he is on the left-hand side. There's 2 touches from the Sauber driver. He comes back onto the track. In Jenson Button's fairness, you know, you can't really see much in the mirrors. You couldn't really see Fernando Alonso was there, but, you know, he knows their drivers on the track. He probably should have stayed off the track for a little bit longer. Marcus Ericsson locks up, so that is how the contacts happened. I'm on the left-hand side of Marcus Ericsson as well, so it was going 3 wide down in towards turn 1. Marcus Ericsson locks up, goes into the side of Jenson Button, and unfortunately sends him wide. And then Marcus Ericsson just sort of has to give up the position to myself, and here we are back on board with myself on lap 2. There's a couple of guys in the pits at the moment. Well, one driver, Max Verstappen, so it looks like maybe he got caught up in an incident down in towards the first couple of corners. So very, very unfortunate for my rival, but I'm not really going to care too much because that means I do get past him. Daniel Ricciardo, the other Red Bull, coming into the pits, so maybe it's just the case of the Ultrasofts not lasting very long for the AIs. So lap 4 now, and quite a lot of guys coming to the pits as that's bumped us up into 7th place. And looks like Esteban Gutierrez is also coming into pits now on the end of lap 4, start of lap 5. And it looks like somebody else is also in the pit lane. So that's going to bump us up another position, up into P5 now, following behind the Williams of Valtteri Bottas. And we're doing a good, solid job in this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix at the moment. You know, we started down in 18th place. We are now up into 5th position, battling for some really decent points with my teammate right behind me in the standing. So both us battling for some decent points, and hopefully this can really help us in the Constructors as well. Now, Jolyon Palmer at this stage of the race was a lot faster than us on those super soft tyres. Obviously, he is on a different strategy. He will be pitting earlier than us, so if he does get past, we can always get back past him in the pit stop phase. So we did decide to let Jolyon Palmer through very easy. Unfortunately, he couldn't quite get past through this straight, and we're not going to lose out time for him. We're not going to break for Jolyon Palmer because that's going to hurt our race quite a lot more. But we're not going to defend from him. We're not going to fight him into corners. We're just going to let him go in this next DRS straight. And here we are, we just pull over to the right-hand side. We're a little bit late on the throttle, just so he gets a good run on us. And there he goes on the left-hand side. Job done for Jolyon Palmer down in towards the next couple of corners. And you could just see into this next corner, usually we brake but at the 100-metre board. We just brake very early for this corner, allow Jolyon Palmer to get through, and yeah, just hold on to his position as we're now watching on board with what looks like a freeway battle down into the same chicane. And going down through here, Romain Grosjean has been given a spin there, and not too sure what has gone on between those 3 drivers. Not too sure whether it was a contact between them or whether he just got caught on the sausage curb. But here we are on board with Daniel Ricciardo here. He was having a battle with the Mercedes of Nico Rosberg going down in towards the first chicane. It's side by side at the moment. Nico Rosberg holding it around the outside. He then get the inside line into the next corner. He forces out wide Daniel Ricciardo, but he still managed to hold it on those ultra soft tyres. Romain Grosjean now fancies a little piece of the action, and he pulls over to the left hand side to go 3 wide down into the next chicane. So it's 3 way between those guys. Then Nico Rosberg cuts into Daniel Ricciardo. There's a little bit of contact. Romain Grosjean takes a really tight line, gets caught on the sausage curve, flings him into the Red Bull Daniel Ricciardo, and unfortunately that puts him into a spin and loses him a chunk of his front wing as well. So here we go on board with Romain Grosjean going down in towards the chicane. He's following in the slipstream, and I think he does have DRS on both of these guys as well, going down in towards this next chicane. So he's got the inside line, those 2 batting out very closely, and yeah, there we go. He just hits the sausage curve, puts his car into the air, into the side of that Red Bull, and very disappointing from the Haas driver. Here we go on board with Danny Kvyat, who was a bit of a sort of passenger in this crash. I mean, he's just coming through this corner. You probably should have backed out of it, you know, seeing 3 guys go 3 wide. And unfortunately, he just goes into the Haas driver who's already spun it. And there wasn't really anywhere else to go. But, you know, you probably should have backed out of it. Just let those guys go 3 wide and probably try and pick up the pieces. That is like what actually happened. So, unfortunately there for Danny Kvyat, he just has a little bit of an error, and you know, he just gets caught up and loses a lot of his front wing and loses a lot of positions in this race. But Max Verstappen has now had an engine failure in this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, so a lot has happened in the first 6 laps of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. We've seen a lot of crashes, we've seen an engine blowout already. Very exciting stuff in this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and Max Verstappen is out of the race. And here we are on board with Sebastian Vettel. So he's already pitted. He was leading the race earlier on, and he is now going to try and get past both Marcus Ericsson and myself going down into the next chicane. So he's following in the slipstream on myself at the moment, but can't quite get it done up the inside into the chicane. And now he's going to try round the outside into the second chicane. He's got the job done on those fresher, better ultra soft tyres. But we are going to get DRS on the Ferrari driver going down into the next chicane. So we will be trying to follow behind him. Try and use the slipstream. Try and use the DRS, which we do. Round the outside of Sebastian Vettel. Can we hold position against the Ferrari driver? It looks like we can. And there we go. Job done of maintaining this podium place at the moment. Round the outside and up into P3 once again. But we now have Sebastian Vettel, Marcus Ericsson and Kimi Räikkönen. And of course, a Manor as well right behind us on track. So we go down in towards this chicane once again. Will Sebastian Vettel have an easy move on us into this next chicane? Looks like he does under braking side by side at the moment into the left-hander. And it looks like Sebastian Vettel has got the job done this time around. And he will take that third position very, very cleanly indeed. There's no really point batting. We decided against sort of going late under braking into this next corner just because, you know, we don't want to wear the tyres too much. There's no real point batting. He's so much quicker in that Ferrari. So there wasn't really too much point batting him and losing a lot of time in our own race, because obviously, you know, we want to try and get as many points this race as possible, and that won't happen if we battle the Ferraris too hard. So here we are, Kimi Räikkönen's turn to try and get past us on this straight. He's following in the slipstream just like his teammate was doing earlier on in the race, and this time he, however, is trying to go on the outside into the next corner on the right hand side, and side by side at the moment the Ferrari not very fast in a straight line compared to myself, but we back out of the move. We brake very, very early for that corner, just hitting that sausage curb, doing a Roman Grosjean there, but not quite as drastically as Roman Grosjean did. And here we are now going down in towards the next chicane, and we just back out of the move. There's no point going for a move on Kimi Räikkönen. We're coming later on in the race, running very, very wide into the hotel section, and that unfortunately allows Carlos Sainz to go round the outside. We somehow get given a warning for exceeding track limits there, even though we lost so much time for doing so. So that was a little bit strange and a little bit annoying, because obviously you want to try and have a clean race as possible. And unfortunately there, Carlos Sainz did manage to get past us. But like I said, we're just racing our own race. All these guys are on different strategies, so we could be battling with them later on in the race when we're on the super soft tyres. And here is Lewis Hamilton going past us on the super soft tyres, and we're just going to give up position once again. We're not going to battle him too hard. He's going around the outside. We brake early, let him have the position, and going round the outside into this corner. We just sort of back out of it, but he just sort of goes wide and then holds us up quite a bit, which is really, really frustrating from the Mercedes driver. And because he did that, then I decided to use the DRS, use the slipstream, and because we're so much faster in a straight line compared to the Mercedes, we just decided to go up the inside and take position away from Lewis Hamilton. I mean, we did brake very, very late, and because the tyres were so dead at this stage, we couldn't actually get the car turned in, but luckily there wasn't any contact, or if there wasn't, you know, any significant contact between the two of us in order to cause damage. But here we are on lap 11, finally coming into pits for our first pit stop in this race. I mean, our tyres were absolutely destroyed at this stage, especially on the rears. So we were thinking about maybe doing a it was already a two-stop strategy, so going on to a three-stop strategy in this race, but we'll just see how these super soft tyres go. And here we are coming out of the pit lane for our first stop in the race. It was a very nice quick pit stop there from the Renault team, and through this very, very nice pit lane exit underneath the tunnel, getting very, very close to the wall there on the right hand side. You know, I was very, very lucky not to actually hit the wall. And here we are coming out of the pits. It's going to be side by side with a Force India as we come out of the pits, and Nico Hülkenberg gets very, very close to the front wing of our car, but luckily there was no damage, there was no contact, and we can just carry on with our own race. And here we are cutting ahead to lap 14, gaining on the Force India of Nico Hülkenberg, who looks like he's getting involved in a squabble between, I think, a Manor and a Sauber driver, Verline, and who was the other one? Felipe Nasr as well. So we just take a little step back and then get the power down through the end of that triple chicane. Get the job done on Felipe Nasr and Nico Hülkenberg. A great double overtake through that corner. And up next for us is Pascal Verline in the Manor. So we will be looking to get past him as soon as possible. And here we are. We've got a great opportunity down this next straight. Here we go. DRS will be activated for us. We will have the slipstream as well. We put it up into rich mix to try and optimize our overtaking speed to try and get past Pascal Verline, who is very, very quick in a straight line in that Manor. But here we are, going to the left-hand side. It should be a fairly easy move on the Manor, but he does manage to brake late on us. He gives us a little first nudge there in towards the first chicane. Then he takes the sausage curb. He flies over into the front of us. Pascal Verline out of nowhere. Then we lose the back end, going into the side of the Manor. There is a huge crash here at this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. That is absolutely devastating for our race. I mean, we've only just pitted 4 laps ago, and we're going to have to come into pits once again. Then Felipe Massa decides to swerve in front of us. The engineer giving us a strategy change for the race, which we desperately need because our front wing is heavily damaged. But I mean, we might be able to survive on it. We'll just have to wait and see as the lap goes on. But we definitely need to take a look at replay of what's happened here. So the man of Pascal Wehrlein goes around the outside. He can't quite hold it, and he just takes too much of the sausage curve, flies into our path. We run it wide, and obviously because there's less grip out on that surface of the track, we lose the back end, go inside of the manor. And then it's literally just a domino effect of Nico Hülkenberg hitting me, Nasser hitting me, then Felipe Massa hitting me as well. So very, very disappointing in this race. Here's another footage on board with me. So watch out for the first touch with Pascal Wehrlein here. He turns very, very early into the corner, gives me one nudge. That sort of upsets my line because I'm sort of tighter. Upsets his line. He takes the sausage curve. Then we lose the back end on the runoff area, and unfortunately go into the path of two guys who smash into the side of me. Here we go on board with Pascal Wehrlein, just turning so early into the corner, turning early once again, smashing that sausage curve, nearly going on his side. He managed to go on two wheels there, and there's another touch with myself. Very, very disappointing. You know, that is definitely Pascal Wehrlein's fault. I don't know how that could be mine fault. I mean, I did lose the back end there for the second one, but the first one shouldn't have happened. There's Nico Hülkenberg just having nowhere to go with my car spinning on the track. On board with Felipe Nasser now. Did he have anywhere to go? Not really. Once again, once there was that contact from the Force India, Nasser hardly had anywhere to go either. On board with Felipe Massa, he was just sort of unsighted. He tried to go to the left where there was a little gap, but then that gap closed off, and unfortunately there, Felipe Massa had a big amount of damage as well. Now, I was considering about staying out on track, but running wide on that penultimate corner just there that you saw, that's what made me decide to come into the pits. I mean, we took that corner normally, how we usually would take it, and unfortunately run very, very wide there, and that, you know, triggered in my head that we needed to make a pit stop and go onto a new set of tyres and get a new front wing. So here we are going onto the ultra soft tyres now, running on these maybe to the end of the race if we can. If not, we'll have to go for another pit stop. I mean, I don't think they'll be able to last to the end of the race. We might have to make another pit stop. We'll be hoping to go for 2 sets of ultra soft tyres, but we're just going to have to wait and see for that. But I'm not too sure where this is going to bring us back out on track. This time around, though, we managed to take the tunnel a lot cleaner than we did the first time around. Here we are coming out the pits. There's no other drivers around us, unlike the first time where Nico Hülkenberg sort of nearly clipped our front wing. We're down in 16th position at the moment. We'll be trying to hunt down Danny Kvyat, and I think maybe there's another couple of drivers ahead of him. And no, Danny Kvyat's all out on his own, 9 seconds ahead of me. But here we are cutting ahead to lap 18 at the moment. Looks like Danny Kvyat has come into the pits on lap 18. So that is good news. That means we have bumped up above Danny Kvyat in the race stands. He decided to go on the soft tyres and try and run to the end. We did have to go for another pit stop in this race because the ultra soft tyres did not last. So here we are coming into the pit lane for a new set of ultra soft tyres, because these tyres managed to last us, I think it was 8 laps in this race, maybe a few less, I'm not too sure, but no, I think it was 6 laps in this race. And there's only 6 laps left to go in the race. So we decided that we'll go for the ultra softs once again. You know, they're the fastest tyre on track, and if we can make them last, so that's the best tyre to be on. And it gives us the best opportunity to try and catch up to Danny Kvyat, who is on the soft tyres. And word from the engineer earlier on in the race, he also has a problem. So we can definitely catch up to Danny Kvyat and possibly try and overtake him towards the end of the race. He's also got Roman Grosjean just behind him as well. So if those two can hold each other up, then I could get into P15 in this race. And now we cut ahead to the end of lap 27, start of the final lap in this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So here we go through turn 1. You can just see the Haas of Roman Grosjean and the Toro Rosso of Danny Kvyat just ahead of us. So we have a good opportunity to try and catch up to both of these guys and possibly get 15th position in this race. And here we are in towards the chicane. We need to take this as nice and cleanly as we possibly can, taking a lot of curb there on the left hand side, but we did manage to stay within the track limits through the hairpin. Now there is Danny Kvyat and Roman Grosjean going very, very slowly from Danny Kvyat ahead of him, and we are definitely catching up to both those guys. We definitely have the opportunity to possibly go for a move, but Roman Grosjean is going for the overtake on Danny Kvyat, and he does actually make the overtake stick. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get Roman Grosjean in this race, but if we can get Danny Kvyat by the end of the race, that'll be absolutely fantastic. But Danny Kvyat will have the DRS down this next straight. He does have the opportunity to try and get past Roman Grosjean down in towards the next chicane. So will he be able to go for that? I'm not too sure. There are the two guys battling at the moment. Doesn't look like Danny Kvyat is going to get close enough, and unfortunately he doesn't. And unfortunately he's not able to go for the overtake on Roman Grosjean. We're going to follow through the triple chicane at the moment. So close behind both of these guys right now. We could definitely definitely be going for an overtake on Danny Kvyat within the next couple of corners. We're so close behind the Toro Rosso driver right now as we come into the hotel section. We need to take this section cleanly, not run it wide like we did when Carlos Sainz got past us. But here we go, going underneath the hotel now. Nice and tidy at the moment through the left-hander. And here we are. Here's this train. Roman Grosjean, Danny Kvyat, and myself. Here we are right on the back of Danny Kvyat at the moment. Can we get the job done into the final corner of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix? We dive out the inside, get the inside line on Danny Kvyat, and there we go. Job done for the final race of the 2016 season.
Right, I know it's been a rough year, but let's try to stay positive. Even the greats had some poor seasons, so we'll knuckle down over the winter and come back stronger next time.
Great effort there from Ferrari to take the victory today. Anthony, what do you think made the difference here?
The difference was clearly in the strategy. You could tell they'd done a lot of work on the pit wall to really optimise each stint and get the most out of the tyres. It highlights just how much of a team sport this really is. But credit to the driver as well though, there's no good having a well-oiled machine behind the scenes without a talented hand on the wheel, of course.
Welcome then to the podium, our top 3 drivers. What a great effort from them today in a very difficult race.
So, not the best of races from, well, myself there at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. I mean, we sort of did get caught up with a battle with the manner of Pascal Wehrlein, even though it was mainly his fault for taking too much of that sausage curb and flinging himself into us. We should have been a little bit later on the power on that runoff area. We know it's not got as much grip there on the outside of the track, and unfortunately, we got down too early on the power, and that person to the side of Pascal Wehrlein, and yeah, it did ruin our race there. Our race was ruined from that moment. We were starting to come back into it at that stage, you know, getting past Pascal Wehrlein and definitely catching up to the guys ahead of us, but unfortunately that ruined it. But just going through the standings for today's race, Kimi Räikkönen wins the final race of the season with the world champion Sebastian Vettel finishing in second. Carlos Sainz is in third with Lewis Hamilton fourth. Jolyon Palmer getting a fantastic fifth position in this race. Valtteri Bottas sixth. Esteban Gutierrez in seventh. Jenson Button in eighth. Nico Rosberg finishing in ninth, and Daniel Ricciardo getting the final world championship point. We finished down in 16th position. A very, very disappointing result for myself. We had so much promise. I mean, we did manage to improve from our starting position, but we should have got a lot better. Let's have a look though if this affects us in the drivers' standings. And luckily it doesn't, because Daniel Ricciardo only got 10th position in that race, which means he only got 1 point, which means he only closed up the gap to 3 points. So that means we managed to get 6th position in the drivers' standings. An absolutely fantastic result for us. Lewis Hamilton overtakes Nico Rosberg right at the end of the season. I'm pretty sure Jolyon Palmer got past a couple of drivers as well. But now let's have a look at how this affects us in the constructors' standings. And were we able to overtake Toro Rosso in the constructors' standings? No, unfortunately we weren't. Unfortunately, we weren't able to overtake Toro Rosso. I mean, Carlos Sainz, I think he got a podium. And yeah, I'm pretty sure Carlos Sainz got the podium. He got third position. Great result for him. And Jolyon Palmer, even though he did have a fantastic race to get fifth position, unfortunately, that wasn't enough to overtake Toro Rosso. The gap to those guys at the end of the season was 15 points at the end of the day. So a little bit disappointing not to get fourth place, but a very, very good result for Renault. I mean, we're in a Renault and we're in fifth position in the constructors' standings, beating the likes of Williams and Sahara Force India as well. So it's an absolute fantastic result for Renault. We should definitely all be proud with how we've done this season. But that's it for today's Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Let's head back to the menus. So just taking a look at the rivalry update for the final time this season, and we did actually beat Max Verstappen, because remember he got that engine failure right at the beginning of the race, and that puts us 9-8 going into next season. And end of season, we are delighted to announce that your performance has been above our expectations and you finished 6th in the Drivers' Championship. You and your teammate Jolyon Palmer also amassed enough points to rank us 5th in the Constructors' standings. We look forward to progressing even further next season. Now take some time to relax. You've earned it. I definitely will take some time to relax. Team, thank you very much for that. I think we should have some contracts as well.
Hey, it's good to see you. I just finished these new contract offers. Check them out. Let me know what you want to do.
So yeah, we do have some contract offers. We've obviously got a extension contract from Renault, and they want us to stay as first driver, or move to Sahara Force India and be second driver, or Toro Rosso second driver, or Haas as second driver. Now, I'm going to straight away rule out Force India. I mean, their research and development is awful at the moment. They're right at pretty much the bottom of the pile, so I'm not even going to consider going to them. Now, it could have been between Toro Rosso and Haas. I mean, their development is very, very good. They're a new team at the moment. You know, I don't really care about being second driver. It won't give me as many R&D points, which is a little bit disappointing. But still, they're good teams, and they have relationships with Red Bull and Ferrari as well, as Renault don't have any relationships with anyone. But, you know, in terms of, you know, this research and development and this career mode, I just want to stay with Renault. I want to stay with Renault, build this team up even further and see if we can try and win the Constructors' Championship with Renault. So that is what we're going to do.
That's decided then. Leave it with me.
So there we go. We are sticking with Renault for another season. I'm looking forward to Season 2. Hopefully we can improve that car even further and definitely challenge up there with Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull once again, Toro Rossos, and try and get some podiums, some more podiums. Try and get second position in the season as well. Just looking at the resource points in the top right hand corner, we've got 1,684 resource points. 25% of that amounts to about 2,000 points. We have 2,000 resource points to spend at the start of next season, so that is really, really exciting indeed. So at Australia for the Bahrain Grand Prix, we should have a lot of upgrades. We're probably going to upgrade our engine. We're probably going to go for straight line speed once again. Probably upgrade our engine, upgrade the Dragonor car, and if we have enough, maybe upgrade the fuel efficiency as well. And yeah, that is it for this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and that is it for Season 1 in the F1 2016 career mode. If you have enjoyed this episode and this season as a whole, don't forget to smash that like button. Also, subscribe to my channel if you are new around here. We've had so much Formula 1 content over the first 2 weeks of this game being out. It's going to continue through the next couple of weeks, next couple of months as well. You know, I'm just going to keep on playing this game. I'm absolutely loving this career mode at the moment. However, we are just going to have a little break from it, about a 2 or 3 day break from this career mode, just to sort of reset it, because, you know, we're going into a new season. We don't want to literally just jump into it in the next day. So we're going to probably take 2 or 3 days out in terms of just, you know, for myself, just to get ready with all the uploads, because most of the time I'm making these videos and they're going up the same day, so they're not probably going up at the time that I want them to. So most of them are going up like a little bit later, like this one's going up around 8 or 9 o'clock. I don't even know at the moment. That's why I need to do that. So if I'm given a couple of days, then I give the rendering and all that, the efficiency of making these videos is going to be a lot smoother, and it's going to be a lot easier to make them be every single day, because obviously I work part-time. I work a couple of days in the week, so during those days at the moment I couldn't really, it was very, very difficult for me to make the videos for you. So they were either coming out very, very late in the evening, or they weren't coming out at all, and I had to make it up with double uploads. And I still want to do double uploads in the future in Season 2, but I don't want them to have to be because I've missed an episode. I want to have them just as a bit of a surprise, and just, you know, have an extra episode for you in the day for maybe some of the bigger races like Monaco or Singapore, or, you know, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the finale, like we did this time around. So that is what I've decided to do. We're going to take a couple of days out of this career mode, and we will be back in a couple of days for Season 2 at the Australian Grand Prix, and that is when we're just going to hammer out this career mode once again, have another episode every single day for Season 2, just because I'm absolutely loving this career mode right now. It's absolutely amazing. So, you know, if you do want to see that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and if you do so, you never have to miss an episode from me as well. I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you for supporting this series, dropping likes, dropping comments. It's been absolutely fantastic, and all of you that have subscribed because of this career mode, thank you very much, and welcome to the channel as well. I hope you continue to love the content that I'm creating for you. But I will see you next time at the Australian Grand Prix for Season 2, a brand new season in this Renault, where hopefully we can challenge for race wins and possibly even challenge for the Constructors or the Drivers' title as well. I'm not too sure about that, but if it can happen, that would be absolutely amazing. But I will see you next time at the Australian Grand Prix. Until then, though, it's goodbye from me.